I'll get out of studio mode. Hello, party peoples! We are here, live, doing our thing. This is the Captain's Log, episode 94. We're getting up there on all our stuff. Live on the internet. Things are... you know what? I need to stop saying things are fine, or things look like they're fine on our end, because usually somewhere along along the lines, something is not fine. And then I have to, like,
for now. It's fine for now.
Right, or it looks fine on my end, and then when I look at it in post, it's like, oh, that is not fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, things seem to be working for now. Knock on wood. But we are here. There's 3 of us here tonight. Hi, it's me, Kyle Springer. I am joined, as always, by Melissa Wilkinson. And for the first time on the Captain's Log that is not hidden behind a Patreon exclusive paywall, we have Ignacio Rojas.
Hey.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
This wasn't supposed to be my first time. Because if you remember correctly, I was supposed to be on the show last year at some point. And then your computer, what was it, crashed? Didn't work?
Yeah.
It's typical, just like, it's not wanting to function right now.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time coming to get you on.
But it's working now, and I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome.
Hello.
Hey, thank you. Hi.
Yeah. How is life down in Chile?
Life is, well, I was gonna say pretty okay, but it isn't, of course. I mean, it's okay given the current world status. Sure. I think that we aren't as in a bad place as other countries, including the US.
Mm-hmm.
But still, of course, very affected by all this. It isn't life as usual right now. Yeah. We're still in this different way of life that we've been living for now for some months. But we're doing good.
Seems pretty standard, par for the course these days. Yep. Melissa, what have you been up to? You said you were just on another Skype call or Discord call right before this?
This is my 3rd of 4 calls this afternoon.
Amazing.
I had my Friday afternoon Zoom happy hour with my coworkers. I joined if you are familiar with the New Rockstars YouTube channel, they do like pop culture reviews and things. They're one of my go-tos whenever there's like any Marvel news or a movie has just come out and it's like, here's the Easter eggs, here's the theories. What does this clue mean? New Rockstars is always where I go first. And I decided
to come to me first?
Oh.
I'm so hurt.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
Well, New Rockstars is where I go to get the info to be prepared for a discussion with you.
Ah, okay. There we go. Fair enough.
So I decided to throw $5 towards their Patreon, which gets me onto their exclusive Discord. And we were just having a little Jackbox game party over there on the Discord. And now I have this, and then I might need to leave a little early because I have an appointment to read my niece a bedtime story.
That sounds good. It's funny you mentioned that because this week on the review show, you and I are watching both of the Paddington movies.
Yes.
And I watched, Ignacio's like, what?
What?
But in Paddington 2, it's kind of well, I guess I think they mention it in the first one. I don't remember now, but you find out that he likes having bedtime stories read to him.
Don't we all?
I mean, that would be nice. Like, Ignacio, can you tuck me in? Give me a bedtime story.
Come on.
Well, one day there was a magical little bear. But he wants this bedtime story read to him, and then you text me that same day being like, yeah, I have to go read a bedtime story to someone. And I was just like,
To someone?
Is this Paddington? Is she reading a bedtime story to Paddington? And I don't know about it.
I mean, he'd be welcome to join. I think a bear is my niece's favorite animal, except a unicorn. I think a bear is her favorite animal she can see in a zoo for real.
What's the coolest animal you have ever seen in real life?
I mean, camels are something wild. Camels look fake.
Really?
You know what a camel looks like. We all know what a camel looks like. But I went to the zoo. I went to the zoo, and maybe this is just the one we have, but it's like shaggy, lopsided. I think they only put symmetrical camels in the movies.
Yeah.
This thing, it's so lumpy and weird looking. It looks like if you were enrolled in like Muppet Academy and this was your final project.
Some, art students puppet.
Yeah, it's like you're either a prodigy or you're failing out of Muppet class. I can't tell. It's so weird looking.
Well, maybe you got one of those, the worst camels.
Yeah. Well, what if you saw a defective camel?
Yeah.
That's
the one they could
camel.
get.
What if it actually was a puppet?
Yeah.
Do you think there's like a ranking out there that's like, okay, I want to go see a rhino. What zoo has the best rhino? Where do I gotta go in the country to see not just any rhino? What's the best rhino we have?
Sure.
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past people to have that be a thing, right? Like we have. I mean, you listen to a podcast, Melissa, I believe, called "Podcast the Ride the Show," which is all about.
It's just called Podcast the Ride, and it is all about theme parks.
Well, it should be a show. That way it can be Podcast the Ride, the show. But yeah, it's all about like theme parks and like the rides and stuff like that. Why wouldn't there be one about like which zoos are best? Which rhino is prettiest?
Yeah.
This is the ranking I want. And we have a world-class zoo here in St. Louis. This is something people don't know about us. High-quality zoo, free. The zoo is free. How many other free zoos you got out there in the world, huh? Probably very few others in America even. But I don't know where the individual animals rank.
Well, apparently not if that's the camel you got.
Yeah, like, what if we do just have a mediocre camel, like, compared to other zoos in America?
So I typed into Google, what zoo has the best rhino? And it came up with the San Diego Zoo Safari Park.
Oh.
Oh.
So
is that the same as the San Diego Zoo with the pandas?
I would assume so.
I think
it
that
looks
is
like
maybe
it's coming from San Diego Zoo.
Yeah, because I've been to that zoo before. Like
I think that is
once.
Ignacio, you have seen the prettiest rhino.
Yeah,
wow,
the best rhino.
Did I see a rhino? I mean, bro, maybe.
It's not your type.
Giraffes. I remember.
When you look in the rhino, like you feel a connection, and their eyes sparkle at you, and somebody you hear the song Dreamweaver. That's how good their rhino is.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Ignacio, what about you? What do you think is the coolest animal you have ever seen besides the best rhino?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it the coolest, but for sure the most, like, seeing it was the most impactful. It was seeing a gorilla.
Ooh.
I mean, no,
I don't think
it's such a weird experience because if I'm not mistaken, I also saw it on the San Diego Zoo. So there was this one part where it was just glass in between, and it's you, and then there was a gorilla at the other side. And then seeing the gorilla act
Bite me,
like a
bro.
human. No, they really act so human-like. It's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's an animal, but it acts like a human in a way. It's so weird. It's such a weird experience.
Interesting. I think for me, giraffes are up there.
Oh, yeah.
They literally are.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Good.
I've seen those, but I think one of the coolest ones I've seen was a moose. A moose. They're so cool, and their antlers are big and ginormous, and they're just doing their own thing.
They do their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen a moose in person, but I mean, it wouldn't. That's not an animal that would come up when you ask, what's the coolest animal?
I mean,
A moose is just whatever.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know if they're like cool. They're not like what was the camel's name? Joe Cool or
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Joe Cool is a Snoopy. The camel's just named Joe Camel.
Yeah, Joe Camel.
You know what I mean.
Oh, there's a separate cigarette brand named Cool. There's Joe Camel, Joe Cool, Joe Marlboro, Joe Jewel now for the new generation.
Joe Jewel for the new generation.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I don't know if I would say cool, because I've seen brown bears and stuff like that. I don't think I've seen grizzlies, but you see a bear, and it's exactly what you would think they would look like and be. And it's just like, oh, that's a bear. But then when you see a moose, you're just like, whoa, that's a moose.
Put a bear above a moose. Like, at least I've seen a bear. I haven't seen a moose in person. But I would put a bear on top of a moose.
I think the thing about a bear is that it has been impressed upon all of us the majesty and power and fear of a bear. We all know bears, big, powerful, scary.
Yeah.
That's true about a moose, but nobody really talks about it. I think we just talk about moose as being goofy. You've never seen a threatening moose character in pop culture, but a moose for real is huge. It wanders around wherever the heck it wants. It could destroy you.
You
or
remember
could
the movie?
steal your dinner.
Now I'm gonna mess this one up too. Is it Little Bear or Little
Bear?
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear. See, I knew I was gonna mess it up. God damn
thinking
it.
about that one.
Right?
Yeah,
Comedy
you started
moose.
saying that. I was thinking. I think that's where he's going.
Yeah, the Canadian moose, the Canadian Neeson. That's what they should be called.
That's right. Is that?
No, it's
Is that
not
how you say
actually the plural. I think it's still technically moose. Like, look at all the moose.
What do you mean technically? Are they going to change this like with Pluto? Can
Hey,
we say
you never
mooses
know.
now? Did like NASA
Moose-
change the
moose-eye.
rules?
If
Moosesis.
mooseses, look at all the mooseses.
Look at all those chickens.
It's great. I have no idea how we got onto animals. But we
I
are
don't
here. We are here. Melissa, I wanted to ask you about this playlist because you had this written down in our notes last week, and we never got to it.
Didn't.
And I know you're a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. So
Yes.
Tell me about this playlist.
I just want to make sure that the people are aware that director James Gunn has put out a Spotify playlist of like 60 songs that is all the songs he considered for the volumes 1 and 2 soundtracks, but didn't end up making it. And you can look it up. It's called Meredith Quill's Complete Awesome Mix. And it is all
nice.
and it
That's
is
a good
all
one.
like framed like it's her songs, like it's songs she loves, just like in the movies it's the mixtapes she has made for Peter. So it's just like several hours of great good old classic mom music. It's been great to work to. There's lots of tunes I love. So I was a child that didn't know what I was supposed to listen to because I didn't have musical influences my own age. So I just listened to my dad's classic rock stuff.
If your mom had a theme song, what theme song would it be? What would that song
Jesus is Just All Right with Me.
Okay. Man, I don't know. I feel like my mom would like something from like Sting or the Police or something.
Fields of Gold.
Something like that. However, my dad always used to make fun of my mom, who was not super into country music. But we went to go see.
It's got to be tough when you live in Wyoming.
Well, she was from Montana, so like they all grew up out west there. But my dad is super big into country, and so growing up, we listened to a lot of country, and I, for one, hated it. But we went to go see Toby Keith in concert once, like right at the like height of his power, right?
Power.
When he could kill a man dead with a stare.
Well, you know Toby Keith.
And no one would say anything.
But my mom, I don't think really liked him all that much, and so my dad would make fun of her and just tease her and be like, "Oh, it's your favorite singer. It's Toby Keith. Look who it is. He's on TV now. It's your favorite." And it's just like, and she's just like, "No, I don't like him." She's like, "But it's your favorite. You went to go see him in concert." She's like, "I just went with you."
Classic parent argument.
I feel like, ironically, it would be some Toby Keith song, and her just being like, "Ugh, I hate this."
Just beer for my horses.
Yeah, whiskey for my men, beer for my horses.
Yeah, no, for my mom, I guess it would have to be something by ABBA or Air Supply, Chicago.
Air
like that
Supply,
kind of
good choice.
I don't know Air
Great music.
Supply.
They're great, legitimately great, Kyle.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of them. I know Chicago. But
the Windy Band.
Yeah.
The band of broad shoulders.
You should try and go back and listen to Air Supply.
I'll send you some Air Supply.
Yeah, I think they have some great songs.
I typically have a good Air Supply every day, but
Kyle, are you all out of love?
Good question, Melissa. I don't know, man. So James Gunn has a playlist.
Yes.
As if it's all Peter Quill's mom being like, "These are the songs I didn't show you, the B-sides."
Yeah, and it's stuff that he's like, I considered this for the movies, and it's fun to think about, like, what were the alts for the scenes we ended up having? Like, was this considered for the fooled around and fell in love scene? Was this considered for the come a little bit closer scene? I'd love even more. Like, I need a commentary for this playlist that he made, a director's commentary. And he said, like, there are, like, artist commentaries on Spotify, but I don't think I've seen I made this playlist, I compiled it, here's my commentary track. I wish they would. Yeah, he said,
do you have the list there? Do you have the list there?
Yeah, I could bring it up on my Spotify. Let's see what some of the top bangers are.
I could ask, what were some of the ones that were notable Like, oh man,
because
I didn't pick that one.
both movies have such a great soundtrack. That's why I'm so curious. What else did he consider?
Every Time I Think of You by the Babies, that's been my favorite one. What's on there? I think there's some Gordon Lightfoot, another personal favorite. I have to bring up my Spotify.
Is that the
I'm just
Canadian
now.
one from Gremlins?
You remembered, yes.
Hey. I got it.
What do we have on here? Cruel to Be Kind by Nick Lowe. Great. Suffragette City by David Bowie. So some of these are artists that ended up on the soundtrack, but it's other songs from them.
Gotcha.
For Once in My Life by Stevie Wonder.
Oh, that's a good
right? Song. That'd be great in these movies. That's very, very fitting. New York Groove by Ace Frehley, a song I forgot existed. That's been fun to hear again. Lots of T-Rex. I've been listening to the band T-Rex a lot lately
T-Rex?
somehow.
Amazing.
There's some old band, a very old band. If you've ever seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, there's a song playing in the background of that movie in one scene that goes, "Whatever Happened to the Teenage Dream?" That's a T-Rex song.
I can't say I haven't seen it, so.
What?
So it's interesting that you mention T-Rex because I've really only ever heard one song of them. And I don't know if this is the name of the song. It might be a reference to the lyrics in there, but it's 20th Century
That song is on this playlist, yes.
It was one of the inspirations for one of my favorite mangas, which is entitled 20th Century Boys.
Guys, I saw this song and I'm like, oh, I bet that's where that manga got its name.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's all connected.
Oh, yeah. Great book. Go read 20th Century Boys.
Speaking of books, so yesterday, my brother James sends me a text, just says, hey, can I stop by your apartment and drop something off? And I'm like, yeah, sure, come on by. And he didn't tell me what. So I'm like, either my parents have sent him on some kind of errand, they want to make sure I have paper towels or whatever, or he has some surprise for me, because he didn't mention what it was. And so he brings this bag to my doorstep, and I open it up, and it is this book. This is
Can you put it in the center of the thing? Okay, there you go. Oh,
look at how damn thick this thing is.
No,
this is the size and shape.
Venture Brothers art book.
Yes, this is the art and making of the Venture Brothers. All
Amazing.
6 seasons, a little preview for season 7. It is the size and shape of a tombstone. This is the biggest, heaviest book I have ever owned.
Amazing.
Yeah. Like one of our local comic stores had it in stock and I had my eye on it, but then, businesses closed and things. And so I didn't think about it anymore. Just like, oh, I'll go back to the store whenever it's open again. But apparently they were open for pickup orders.
Yeah.
So he ordered this for me because he knew I was looking forward to it. So this is all I want to do now. I'm going to pour over this entire book, every single illustration and note. It's been really enlightening so far. And I'm only up to episode 2 because this is an episode by episode art guide. Yeah, this goes all the way back there. It's deep. This is my new prized possession. It's so heavy. It's deadly.
I was just thinking about that. You could kill someone with that book.
Probably.
I mean, probably with most things you could.
I mean, if I was really skilled, but I'm not. This is a blunt instrument that a layman could use.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of movies and TV shows and stuff like that, something that I heard while listening to some podcast, I don't remember which one now, but apparently Tenet,
Tenet?
That one.
Yeah.
Tennant is the guy who played Doctor Who.
But,
sure. Yeah, okay. You got me there.
Tenet. Tenet.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I thought I said, but I guess I mispronounced pronounced it.
You added an N.
It hasn't moved its release date yet.
Nope.
Heck,
July
that's
17th.
surprising.
Yep.
Yeah. It's still its theatrical release date.
Yeah, they haven't moved it. And also, I think it's Cinemark that had this whole plan where they wanted to slowly start like reopening their cinemas.
Mhm.
But instead of showing newer movies, they would show like other movies. Not necessarily old, but
Mhm.
movies that had already come out. All leading up to the release of Tenet.
Ah.
Yeah, so Cinemark has had this whole plan revolving around Tenet. And yeah, it has been weird that Warner hasn't moved the release date. So I wonder if it has something to do with that, or maybe they are just that confident that everything will be okay then.
Who knows?
Yeah, I think they would be in charge of Wonder Woman, which changed its date.
Yep.
And I think that was the movie that had the soonest reschedule date, because that moved from March to just August. Like, out of the big tentpole movies I've been looking forward to, I think Wonder Woman is now the one that would be coming up soonest.
Yeah, well, that was because it happened, like, since the movie was supposed to come out in March, it was one of the first movies to get moved. Since people just assumed that it would be fine maybe by May, June, then that's why I think they would have moved it so close.
Yeah. I guess I heard that and I just thought it was strange that it's like, oh, it hasn't moved? Do they think that it's going to clear up by then? I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Will we be able to go see Tenet in the theaters July 17th?
If we behave ourselves, I guess.
Yeah.
One thing I also heard was that theaters for a while might sell at like half capacity and make people sit like every other seat unless you're like a party together.
I think they even started doing that like right before they had to close. I think they started doing that. But yeah, that's the plan they've been like thinking of for when they started back up.
Interesting. Yeah. If this one does not get to keep its release date, what do you think the first big movie out of like the first big movie in theaters will actually be?
Could be
get out of this.
Could be Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I mean that's the like for now that would be the most possible thing, like the most possible scenario. The Wonder Woman ends up being the first big one.
Yeah.
That seems like a good opening back out into the world. This is our season premiere of New Life. It's Wonder Woman.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, when did you say it was coming out? Wonder Woman?
It's mid-August sometime. Yeah. I wonder if for these for any movies that are coming out this year, I wonder if they'll also have like a re-release next year, because I think there will be movies that will come out before some of the public is ready to venture out into a theater yet. Like there may be people who don't feel ready to go to a movie theater in July yet, even if you technically can. And Tenet seems like a movie that you would want to see on a big screen. So I wonder if they'll like, we're going to go ahead, but then also we know people were playing it safe during the original run. It's coming back for 2 weeks next summer. Special limited engagement. So that if you want to see it on an IMAX, you can.
I'm wondering if they're also going to do like, I mean, a lot of people have done the video on demand stuff. Like, I'm wondering if that is also going to stick in combination, where it's like,
I doubt it.
I doubt that on demand a lot sooner.
I doubt it because if they committed to Wonder Woman having to come out in theaters, I doubt they would like not do that for Tenet. I think that since it is a Christopher Nolan movie and it carries something, the name carries all these things.
Yeah. Well,
They will try to.
Right. I'm talking about like, all right, so let's say Tenet still comes out July 17th, and that's the first like big one that hits, right? Because it's maybe so close, or people are still hesitant to go out and do all of those things. Like maybe they would do the video on demand date a lot sooner than they normally would have. So it's not like, well, we're not going to release it in theaters, so we're putting it on demand. But just like, hey, we know that some people just prefer the home experience or are now used to that or stuff like that. So let's get this to them faster, make more money now. Who knows?
See, I doubt it especially now after, what was it, AMC and Regal, that they announced that they wouldn't be carrying Universal movies because of Universal decided to release their movies digitally. I think that because of that, maybe now other studios will look at that and maybe not want to disturb the status quo that much now. Especially if more and more chains start also doing the same.
It's an interesting question. It to be honest, it feels kind of like petty high school drama. Oh, well, you released it early, so we're not going to play any more of your movies.
But you have to understand that now the movie theaters are in the worst position that they have ever been, so they have to fight for their survival. Like they are seeing now that Universal just came out and said that, hey, it isn't like we did make less money than if we had released the movies on theaters, but from each copy sold, we made more money from each one. So now theaters are going to feel even more threatened and try to push back even more.
What can I do as a consumer to make a theater feel safe? Movie theaters are my friends.
That's the thing, like times are changing, and yes, the movie theaters are in a bad spot right now, and I'm wondering if these movie studios will realize, like, hey, maybe we don't need to use these theaters as much or depend on them as much as we have before all of this. Who knows?
Yeah, but also studios need movie theaters because like say even a big movie like the next Marvel movie or Mission Impossible, even like, or whatever big movie you want, the money made if you release it digitally would be so many times fewer than if you had released it on theaters. And that would also mean that if the movies are making less money, then that means we have to put less money into movies. So that then would change the whole idea of blockbuster movies, these big set piece movies.
True.
So, yeah. I don't think it's convenient for anyone to see
I know
theaters disappear.
I bet there's a lot of movies that people see in a theater because it's something fun to go out and do that they may not see otherwise.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
Whenever you can stream something very casually, but for me at least, whenever it's like, oh, I have to pay $5 to rent this thing, it's because I very deliberately, specifically want to watch that thing. Like that's almost more calculated to me than If you feel like watching a movie, you can watch a movie for free and you don't have to pay for it. If you're like, I want to go to the theater, well, you gotta. That's the option. You gotta pay for it and go out there. There's no free theater option where you're not paying somebody some dollars. Like, this is a feeling I have very often. Like, I don't care what's out there. I want to go to a movie. I'll take any movie, please. What is this?
For sure, at least for me personally, I think that I would give a movie a chance that I wouldn't otherwise if it came to the theater than if it was released, say, in Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense indeed.
I miss movie
Ignacio.
theaters.
Yeah.
Besides missing going out to movie theaters, what else do you miss? Who are you? Who is Ignacio? What does Ignacio like to do? Does he enjoy long walks on the beach?
Please, can you read the last question you wrote on the doc?
So on our document, I wrote, who is Ignacio Rojas? Does he cook? Does he go camping? Does he do the sports? Does he engineer things electrically?
Do you?
Well, for the last question, I mean, not yet. I still haven't gotten to that level yet. I'm still learning. So I still haven't gotten to how did you put it? Engineer stuff electrically?
Yeah, you're in school to be an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
You have how much left of school?
Well, here it is 5.5 years, and this is my 4th year.
Gotcha.
So I still have like a year and a half, 2 years. 2 years,
okay.
yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's going well.
But how did you decide upon electrical engineering? When did wee little Ignacio being like, Mom, I want to be an electrical engineer?
Surprisingly, it wasn't that young. Like not like I want to be an electrical engineer. No. So
I was like, Mom, I want to be an electrical engineer.
Actually, that would have been closer, yeah. No, okay, so my whole life I've always liked creating stuff or building stuff. Like, for example, I've been a huge fan of Legos my whole life. I sometimes would even try to copy stuff like that I would see somewhere else and make my own. Like, the one example I can think of is that one time I tried to build a crossbow because of Assassin's Creed.
Oh, how did that go?
That never ended up working, but I still tried. Also because of Assassin's Creed.
Who died in the making of that? Because I feel like at some point you like tried to pull it back and it snapped and shot and you were just like, oh.
No, it never ended up working correctly. So no one would have died. I also, because of Assassin's Creed, I also built a hidden blade.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did that work?
I never figured out the way that it would come out on its own just because of the flick of a wrist. But what I did was I took a railing from what do you call it? A railing for the where you keep stuff and you open them. And I forgot the name. Okay, so I got that railing, and then I
for like
took
a drawer.
A drawer, yeah. A drawer railing. So I took that. I got a letter opener we had.
Right.
I took a wire. I tried my best to keep it there in place with a wire. And what I did was I also got a spring. No, not a spring. Or is it a spring? That if you pull it, it will come. It would come. Yeah, spring, right?
That's a spring.
Yeah. So I got a spring. So I got it attached to one end and to the end that moves. So the way it would work is that I put it in my arm. I would have to with a lot of force. I would just had to throw my arm, and that would make the blade come out. And I had this thing that would keep it in place, and that thing would, with a string, would be attached to my finger. So, say it is like out, I could pull my hand back, and it would retract back.
Interesting. That's so cool.
Yeah. So all my life, I'd like to create stuff. So first, like for the longest time when I was little, I wanted to be a builder, like a constructor, people that build stuff.
Sure.
Then that ended up evolving because I like technology so much. It ended up evolving into computer stuff, like computer engineer, software engineer, that kind of stuff. I even started learning C++, and I tinkered around with some game development tools like Unity.
Okay.
And then I ended up settling on electrical engineering because I realized that if I wanted to make technology, that was the right path. Like, if everything that is technological is electrical, everything depends on. So, say your smartphone or your camera, even the mics themselves, an electrical engineer would have had some hand on it. So I realized the person best equipped to create something out of nothing, something technological, would be an electrical engineer. So that's how I ended up studying with electrical engineering.
It's pretty cool. That's
nifty.
Yeah, it's similar to my kind of thought process of why I went into graphic design. It was just like, I like art, I like computers and technology, I like making art with computers and technology, and I like people. Like, I like trying to figure them out and communicate with them. And that all was just like graphic design. You need to like make art on the computer to figure out how to communicate with people. And I was like, that makes sense. So
yeah,
stuff.
so I got to the point that I realized that what I wanted to do was create technology. That's my goal, create technology. So I thought, what's the best way I could get all the knowledge that I need? And it ended up being electrical engineering.
YouTube. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How do you electrical engineer?
So yeah, now I'm in my 4th year, and I've been learning some good stuff, some interesting stuff. And yeah, hopefully I'll end up being able to create whatever I want.
Cool.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Now you can build something in a cave with a box of scraps.
Yeah. The next Iron Man.
Yeah.
Ignacio
That
Rojas.
would be cool. I would be lying if I haven't thought of how to create an Iron Man suit. That's one of my goals, to be honest.
I feel like, to me, an Iron Man suit would be the kind of thing that, like, as a 7-year-old or younger, as a like 3 or 4-year-old, you're like, Dad, tell Santa that I want an Iron Man suit with laser boots and rockets in the face. And he'd just be like, okay, we'll let him know.
Yeah.
Sorry, pal. Santa.
Oh,
Santa's not as smart as Tony Stark, and
also,
Santa,
there's so many parts over
plastic.
there.
In my case, it would be like, yeah, well, remember that time you talked back to us last week? Not gonna happen.
Back talk is what's gonna keep you out of being the Avengers.
So yeah, hopefully one day I'll be able to do that. But yeah, one of the coolest things I think that come from studying electrical engineering, or even most engineering fields, is that you start to learn how things work. And I love how the more you go and learn about this stuff, about math, physics, electronics, you start to see like the matrix in a way. You start to understand really how it works to the point that you will get the tools to make it your own, make it work for you. And it's so cool.
Interesting.
Neat.
Like, oh, I can adapt that. That can fit with this thing. I can be the next Iron Man. Great.
Yeah, or like I know that this is the equation that makes this thing work. So if I look at it on this other way, I can make it do this other thing that it hasn't done before. Like, that kind of stuff. So cool.
Good stuff.
But yeah,
when you are not slaving away in school, what else do you like to do? Are you a very outdoorsy person? Because you also co-host our podcast Crossplay with me.
Yes,
which is all about video games and stuff like that. So I only know you from like online computer video game stuff. So like, what else is there?
I mean, honestly, I'm not much of an outside person. Like, I'd rather stay inside with video games or even other things, but I'd rather stay inside than outside. That's more my personality. But yeah, like you said, we have a video game podcast, and of course, that then means that I'm huge into video games. I play them all the time. But other than that, movies, we were talking about that. I'm huge into movies, even to the point that my minor is on movies, on cinema.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's my minor. And so, yeah, because of everything that's happening, it sucks that I haven't been able to go to the movies. What sucks even most is that I haven't been able to go to the movies here since maybe December or January.
Oh
man!
Because of my trip to San Francisco.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, what is the best, or what's your favorite movie? If you had to just be like right off the top, I can watch this 1,000,000 times and still be entertained.
Well, that's two different questions. My favorite movie is Your Name, which I even made you to watch.
You did? Yes. Yeah. You guys can go check that out on the review show.
The reason I say it's two different questions is that I don't want to watch Your Name over and over again.
Yeah.
Because I love the movie so much that I don't want to get tired of it. That's why I wouldn't say that I would watch again and again. I mean, a movie that I would watch over and over. I mean, not one movie specifically. I mean, I would say that there are several movies, but not one specifically.
Okay. What are those ones? Are there certain ones that are coming to mind?
Well, the one that comes to mind would be Avengers Endgame.
Interesting
you
choice.
Put Endgame on. I have not rewatched Endgame since I saw it in the theaters. I've been working my way up to it because it is such an emotional sea. It's a tempest to sit down and watch.
If I'm not mistaken, I might have watched Endgame 3 times in the theater.
Oh, that's good.
And 1 time since. Like, I know I watched it not the first day, but the second day. I watched it also on IMAX, and I think I might have seen it or maybe I didn't. It might have been 2 times. But yeah, Endgame is the one that comes to mind. Granted, I haven't seen it that many times, but I mean, every time that I saw it, I enjoyed it as much.
That's good.
That's good. I think if it was me, I would go like, well, if I'm thinking of Marvel films in particular, I think Avengers is just the most like rewatchable. Like, you don't really need to pay attention. It's not like super emotionally invested yet.
Yeah, especially now that we know Coulson is fine somewhere.
Yeah.
don't know if
ambiguously.
do you
Yeah.
want spoilers or not?
No, I'm good. I
I
like
don't
living
think
in
it's
my.
Agents of
I
S.H.I.E.L.D.
like living in my world where Coulson's okay. And
I
he
don't
just
think
drives
she
around in a
watches
cool
Agents
car.
of Shield.
I'm huge into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I could tell you exactly what happened to him.
Yeah.
Nope, he's fine. I could call him up right now and we'd have a great conversation. He's my new uncle.
Uh,
I mean,
Avengers is the movie that I think I have
who
seen the
knows?
most times as an adult.
yeah.
Like another
Oh.
podcast I was listening to recently asked this question. Like when you're a kid up through like middle school, like you'll find a movie and fixate on it and watch it over and over and over again. And they're like, what movies that have come out since you were an adult have you done that with? And it is Avengers for me. I've seen it like a dozen times. Part of that is like,
It's a good.
like when I lived with my family still, like my dad would watch it, my brother would watch it. It's on FX all the time. And that's a movie I would channel surf into and always watch the rest of it. I don't know how many times I've cobbled together various showings of Avengers into a single viewing of the film.
Yeah,
True.
for me, I mean, out of every MCU movie, I think Avengers might be the one I've seen the most.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being honest. Yeah, because I think I remember having seen it a lot of times.
Yeah.
And it was also the first movie that I really got me into the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Like before that, before Avengers, I think I had only seen Iron Man 2 in theaters.
Interesting.
Yeah, so come Avengers, I remember one day a friend coming to school because I was when did I come? I was 14. So
What?
yeah. So I remember a friend coming to school one day talking about Avengers. And the one scene I remember him talking about was the scene where Hawkeye throws the arrow at the helicarrier and basically blows it up. So I remember him telling us about that scene, how he had to calculate the wind, and he was so good that he got it. So that ended up getting me into watching the movie, and then I became a huge MCU fan.
Yeah, that was the same for me. Avengers came out when I was 21 years old. A whole third older than you.
Yep.
I was not like I'd seen the first two Iron Men, and I think I had seen Captain America and Thor. Like my family had rented them at some point or another. I was not a superhero person until I saw Avengers, and that locked it in for me. And now that's my favorite genre of everything.
Yeah, weirdly for me, I also wasn't like a superhero movie fan for whatever reason. Like
I was.
throughout my life,
Kyle goes way back.
I don't know why, because throughout my life, I have always been a fan of Spider-Man and Batman. Like I always watched even the 90s cartoon. I used to watch that as a very young kid, or the other subsequent Spider-Man shows, and even the Sam Raimi movies, and then the Batman animated shows I was also a fan of. But then, up until then, I wasn't really a superhero movie fan. Like I had watched the Spider-Man movies, but I had never watched the X-Men movies, for example. I remember us owning X2, if I'm not mistaken, or X3, but I never ended up watching. Yeah.
Good stuff, though.
Yeah. Oh, they're great movies.
They are, yeah. I think another movie that I can kind of rewatch constantly is Nacho Libre.
Really?
It's a terrible film, but I love it.
I have not
it's so good.
I saw this in the theater when it came out in 2005 and have not seen a second of it since then.
I can quote that that entire movie. It is ridiculous.
Really? I have never.
It is forbidden.
I believe in science.
I'm not sure if I have seen it all the way through at once. Like I remember the one time I watched it I was in a bus traveling between cities, and Nacho Libre was the movie that they were playing, and I knew of Nacho Libre, but I had never watched it. So I ended up watching it.
But
yeah,
it's so good.
Man, Nacho Libre. Wow.
So I knew
he is not a man of God.
I've been spending more quality time with my roommate during us being trapped indoors. Because like I put an ad out on Facebook Marketplace. That's how I found the roommate. And, like we talked, we got along. We've always really gotten along well, but this is our time to like lock in some bonding, because I found for like all of the things I know about her, there's stuff I still like, real basic stuff I still don't know. It's like every time we've watched
Hey,
yeah,
you
calling her roommate.
Mail order roommate. Get over here.
Like every time we've watched something together, it happens to have been something I picked out, or I said like, "Oh, I'm going to be watching this, in the living room if you'd like to join me." So like everything we watched, I'd picked out. So I told her like, you pick something tonight. Let's watch something together. What is your favorite movie? And she said instantly, without any hesitation, "Oh, Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny."
Good one. Okay.
Which I've never heard of being anybody's favorite movie, but I was like, yeah, I've never seen that, and that actually sounds really fun. And we watched it, and it was fun. It is incredibly silly, but it's good. It's worth it. Paul F. Tompkins is in it.
Go. It's good.
That's another movie I've never watched. I had never heard of that movie, to be honest.
It's just Tenacious D. It's just Jack Black and Kyle Gass just being themselves, going on an adventure to find a magic guitar pick, and then they fight Satan.
Oh,
as
how
one does.
As one does.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. What do you guys think the worst movie you've ever seen is?
I know this one. No, I want to hear you first.
No, is that it's not very hard to like. I'm a big fan of movies. I'm the act of watching movies, so it is hard to have me not like a movie. To be honest, like I could watch a movie that people really dislike, and I would find some enjoyment in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the one movie I always come back to is that in high school we had this one teacher that he loved showing students movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that he would always do. At one time, he made us watch Midnight at Paris, in Paris.
Oh, yes.
And I remember being so bored, really disliking that movie. So because of that, I always come back to Midnight at Paris, in Paris.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was really bored at one time.
Melissa.
The Garbage Pail Kids movie, without a doubt, hands down. And I'm a big softie. I love the movies. Capital T, capital M, the movies. I can be so easily charmed by almost anything. I have a very warm heart when it comes to a movie, and even like a bad movie. Like I use that word joyously. Like, it's such a bad movie. Gather round. Let's all watch it. I have bought the thing. I'll put it in my DVD player right now. A bad movie. Everyone celebrate. But the Garbage Pail Kids movie is on a separate level where I'm watching it and I'm like, this is truly unpleasant. I wouldn't quantify it as enjoyable, but I would quantify it as valuable in that now I know definitively that's the worst thing, and I've already seen it. So it's only we're heading on up from here, baby.
Wait, so the Garbage Pail Kids, that's not the doll line?
Yeah, it is that. It is like those little trading cards. They're like these cute little kids that look like a Cabbage Patch Kid, but they're all gross.
Oh, no, that's the one I was thinking of. Cabbage Patch.
Yeah, they're like gross Mad Magazine, like parody versions of a Cabbage Patch Kid. So like they're all, it's like, it's Acne Adam, and he's just covered with like huge gross pimples or something. Or it's like, that's Throw Up Tiffany. Let me Google some real ones here for you.
Good old Throw Up Tiffany.
Garbage Pail Kids. I'm going to read you some real ones. Okay.
Damn Garbage Pail Kids, you a real one.
Oh, like Booger Brian, Slobby Robbie, Bad Breath Seth, They're all like this.
Where's my girl? Throw up Tiffany.
She a real one.
Bony
Yeah, really.
Tony, he unzips his face and there's a skeleton underneath. Some of them are like they're mostly gross. Like they're just gross. Like a handful of them are like, oh, that's actually like cool, kind of goosebumpsy in concept, you know, like a fun, slightly spooky, unusual illustration for a kid. Most of them are just gross, pus, pee, threw up,
Yeah, just
snot.
gross for the sake of
Right.
being gross.
So that's what the entire movie is. And it's like these weird, I think it's there might have been some puppets in there, but I believe it is mostly little people in these like mascot costumes with big heads. And maybe the heads are puppeted because like they have eyes that move. I don't remember. Like my brain like smeared all of it. It's like, we're just going to place a Vaseline smear over the entire experience. Because if you remember too many details, it'll hurt you. Right. Well, it's like, don't look at it too closely. There's no details. We've taken all the rough you're looking at it through frosted glass. The safest way to view the thing. It's so gross and dark and dingy. The movie was made for like $75. It looks awful. The sets are empty and vapid. It feels hollow. It feels cursed.
So why did you watch it? Did you look at the garbage pail kids and think, hey, they would do a great movie?
No, I've never thought such a thing. My friend has
I bet that could be a good movie.
My friend has a home theater, like a really nice home theater set up in his basement, like 55-inch, like 4K ultra 3D TV sound bar, like 2 layers of couches. The couches go 2D. You know, advanced stuff. And he would do like movie nights. Like, okay, for the next 2 months, I'm going to be doing a movie every week. And for this run, he was rotating a really good or like a legitimate movie to sit down and watch. Like it's really good or it's like visually dazzling in some way and like warrants being watched in this home theater environment. Invite everybody over. We'll have beers. So it's a rotation of those and trash. So we watched this. We watched the Dragon Ball Evolution movie.
Oh, God.
Right?
Wow.
So this is what we were up to.
I mean, at least Dragon Ball Evolution was watchable. Yeah.
I think I had more legitimate laughs at it instead of horror laughs. I
mean, it is a horrible Dragon Ball movie, but it's an okay movie.
Right,
overall.
like I could see like there's something there. Like this guy playing Goku should not play Goku, but he should play a Goku type original character in something else.
Like even when it first came out, I in a way tricked myself into enjoying the movie. It wasn't that bad.
That just signals all kinds of red flags for me. If you have to trick yourself into thinking good, like
no, that's not right. I think I liked it when I first watched it because since I watched it dub, it had the original voices from the anime, from the dub anime. So to me, that already made it better than what it was.
What about you, Kyle?
Well, the ones that I was thinking of originally aren't bad in the sense like garbage pail kids were bad. These are like low budget films that are more of like spoofs of stuff. Like we're making a bad movie on purpose.
Okay, like your Transmorphers.
Yeah, stuff like that. So the ones that I thought of was one called The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. It was made, I think, in like the early 2000s, and it's a spoof on the like 1950s, 1960s sci-fi films, Twilight Zone style stuff, or like the creature from the Black Lagoon, you know, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. You know, it's a spoof on all of that stuff. And there's these two aliens that come down looking for some magical skeleton, and they need to like fit in with the humans, but they don't know anything about society or manners or stuff like that. It's just dumb. It's stupid. It's terrible. The second one I watched more recently, and I actually really loved it, but it is a terrible film. Was Velocipaster.
Yeah, you've told us about Velocipaster.
I know that movie.
Oh my god, go watch this, please. It is amazing. It is
I haven't watched it myself, but I watched like someone talk about the movie, go through the movie.
Yeah, so good, but it's so bad. So
yeah, I wouldn't call it good.
It's about this pastor who gets like bitten, and then he gets the powers of a velociraptor, and then he falls in love with a hooker, and she convinces him to fight crime with his new velociraptor powers, and so he fights ninjas.
Yep.
May I ask, when and where is this story set? Does it matter?
It's in modern day times.
Yeah. Isn't there like a twist at the end?
There's
like some twist. Someone appears.
There's not really
like your brother or something.
Oh yeah, there is some like stereotypical like I am actually your brother. And his mouth is still moving and stuff like that. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
For sure, the best part is the last fight.
Yeah, that last fight was wild.
So low budget.
I laughed so hard. And so the thing that sold me on that movie was right at the start. It's doing the opening credits. Things are all happy. There's this montage of the main character preaching, and he's delivering the sermon, and it's seemingly going really well. He's like, yeah, that went well. And he walks outside, and he stands out of the church, and he's just like, man, it's a beautiful day, you know? And then he looks, and he sees his mom and dad, and he's like, oh, hi, it's my mom and dad, you know? And he starts to wave, and then the camera cuts back to the parents, and it shows them waving, and then all of a sudden the parents are gone, and the car that was behind them is also gone, and on screen there is text that says explosion.
What?
And then it cuts back to the pastor, who's like, no. I'm just like, this is great.
Yeah. There are some crazy movies with crazy premises out there. Like this one is with a pastor that can turn into a velociraptor. I follow this one YouTube channel that what he does is like tell you the plot of the movie, but in a funny way.
Interesting.
So he has kind of like this ongoing series where he picks like a weird theme, and he does 3 movies about that theme. So one of those is like, for example, 3 low-budget shark movies, and it would be Ghost Shark, Sand Shark, and Robo Shark, for example, or the shark with 5 heads.
This makes Sand Shark seem real unappealing. Who's going to watch Sand Shark when you have these other options?
There are some crazy movies out there.
I think I might have to head out soon, as previously mentioned. I have an important bedtime story appointment that I need to get to. You all can keep talking. True. I know I'm dipping out of here earlier than usual.
Okay. Well, Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
Perfect. We will be right back. I'm gonna put us on a be right back screen, and I will fix all of our cameras and stuff. And Ignacio and I will be back for just a little bit longer, and we'll wrap things up. So, we will be right back. Cool, that worked. We are back. We are live. It is myself and Ignacio here to bring in the tail end of this podcast. We had some good movie talk.
Yeah.
Right there before we went on break. I don't really have much. Melissa had something about building your own Avengers team. I will skip that for now on our thing because I don't really know what that was. Let's focus on the man, the myth, the legend, Ignacio Rojas, some more. He's like, yes.
Yes, keep going.
The wonderful, the incredible, the one and only, Ignacio Rojas.
Yeah.
Cool. So I kind of know this story on the back end because I asked you about it when we first started talking to start up cross-play and stuff like that. But I met you through Kinda Funny.
Yes, you did.
If you guys aren't familiar with Kinda Funny, you guys should go check them out. They make a ton of wonderful content, some really, really
Great
funny
people
stuff. Yeah,
and great people.
exactly. But how did you find Kinda Funny? What is the story behind that?
Oh, well. So the other day, someone posted on the subreddit, like, how did you get to Kinda Funny?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I did the math. So 8 years ago now, like even before that, then I was an IGN fan. Every day I would go into IGN.com, read the news and all that stuff. So one day IGN decides to start this new YouTube channel called Start. And one of the shows that they started with was Up at Noon. And for those who don't know, Up at Noon was Greg Miller's own like talk show in a way, like his own show.
Yeah.
So that was 8 years ago. I became a fan of Up at Noon. Then that ended up leading me, well, not that directly. One day in 2013, I logged into IGN.com and I saw that they were doing this live stream for podcast Beyond 300. It was this PlayStation podcast that Greg used to do back then. So I go into the live stream. I ended up catching up at the halfway through. I watched it all the way through. Then when it ended, I went back and watched it from the beginning. And ever since then, I became a Podcast Beyond fan. I even went back and listened to every one of the 299 previous episodes.
Damn.
Yeah.
There you go. Good stuff. Now, were you a podcast listener before?
No.
Or was this like your first
That
one?
was my first podcast.
Oh, wow.
My first ever podcast. So then that ended up leading into Greg had his own YouTube channel that he would do back then. So I subscribed to that show. One day, he and 3 other people decided to start this new weekly show called Game Over Greggy Show.
Mm-hmm.
And that then ended up evolving them into creating Kinda Funny.
Right.
And that's how I ended up with Kinda Funny.
Cool. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't know when it was. I don't know what video it was exactly, but I think I saw Kinda Funny do something. It may actually have been IGN, but I know it was Greg and someone else, and they were at, it looked like they were at a bar recording something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, that would have been for the YouTube channel. it would have. Do you know if they were talking about liquors and drinks,
I
or were they just talking
literally
about
have
anything?
no idea. I just have this like vague memory of there was one time I caught a glimpse of some video with a guy that looked like Greg Miller in a bar. And then I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what video that was. And then sometime after that, I think I was in college by this point. So this was maybe in 2000. I don't know when they did all of that stuff. But then I caught a glimpse of an episode of Conversation with Colin. Because I'm a big comic book nerd, and I think my roommate wanted to show me this funny video of like, hey, here's this comic book nerd talking to his roommate who knows nothing about comics and is just just like, I don't fucking know what Paste Pot Pete is. Who the hell is that?
Yeah.
They have this, so who names them Paste Pot Pete? But yeah, so I saw that, and again, it was this thing of like, oh, that's good for them. I don't know what this is. And then down the road, I started getting into listening to podcasts because I was at a job that didn't really let me goof off. Well, I was at work, but they let me listen to headphones and stuff, so I could still get the news if I found some comic book podcasts and stuff like that. And eventually, I got inspired to kind of start my own and stuff like that. And as I was doing that, there was the Whatnauts co-founder with me, Paul Kang, that introduced me to Kind of Funny, and I started checking out their content, and I was like, this is really cool. I like what they're doing. I like this guy Greg. He has a lot of good energy.
He seems like a good chap. This Greg
he
guy.
seems like a good chap. And it took me a week or two to kind of catch on and start understanding some of their inside jokes and stuff like that.
And they have many of those.
Oh yeah, they do. But they kept referring to someone in chat, and his name was Ignacio Rojas. I was just like, who is this guy Ignacio Rojas? He's like always there. He must be good friends with them. And yeah, for like year and a half, 2 years, I've heard your name on all sorts of Kind of Funny content. I think I had interacted with you like 2 or 3 times, just being like, hey, what's up, man? And then I don't know what episode it was on or what we were watching. I think it was an episode of the Kind of Funny morning show when they were still doing that. Maybe not. Maybe it was something else. But I kind of put out in
No, it wasn't that Kind of Funny
live stream chat that was like, hey, I should start putting myself out there more. I'm a podcaster. I make podcasts, but I've been looking to expand for a long time. And a couple people kind of commented, be like, yeah, good for you. That's good. And then you were like, hit me up. Like, I would love to start podcasting and stuff. And I was just like, okay, that's really cool because I know who Ignacio Rojas is just from the community, but I don't actually know who this person is. And so yeah, then we started talking, and shortly after that is when Nanobiologist was like, yeah, I think I kind of want to start podcasting too. And then we all got together and we made crossplay and stuff like that. But
yeah,
my next question to you is, what made you want to start podcasting?
Well, I never saw myself as someone who would post podcast regularly that would have his own podcast. But like I said, ever since Podcast Beyond, that one time I got into podcasts. I would listen to them daily when Kind of Funny came around and they started having daily shows. So because of that, I started wanting to at least try it out once because it seemed fun. Just talking about someone about stuff I like. I'm huge into video games and I don't get that opportunity much to talk with people about video games. So I wanted to at least try it out, be a guest in a podcast here and there. But then I remember that day you're talking about. I was actually at the airport. I was on my way to New York,
Interesting.
and I was listening to. It wasn't the morning show. Maybe
It was something on
maybe it was
Twitch,
back
I think.
No, yeah, it wasn't Twitch. It wouldn't have been the morning show. It was either Games Daily or We Have Cool Friends with Trisha Hirschberger. And
Oh, it might have been that one.
yeah, no, it was that. And I was waiting, so I popped into the chat. I saw you there. You mentioned that you.
Ignacio, if you are still with me, you have frozen and we've lost you. Ignacio is all the way out in Chile, so takes a while to get here. Let's see if I can open the conversation and be like, Ignacio, I lost you. Ignacio. Oh, hey, there you are. I was just about to
I never lost you.
message you. Oh, okay. Well, we are back. Continue on.
Can you see me well?
Yes, I can see you just fine now.
Yeah, like I was saying, I saw you on the chat. I reached out to you with only the intention of being a guest on someone's podcast, and then you hit me up, and I was boarding the plane when I finally got to talk to you, and I had to be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, but I'll be unavailable for the next many hours, 8 hours at least, 10 hours." And then when I got there, hey, I don't have good reception here. Maybe next week when I get back. But yeah, then we started talking, and then you approached me with this idea of a video game podcast. And at first, that wasn't my intention. My intention was being a guest on a podcast. But yeah, you approached me with the idea of a gaming podcast, so I said, sure, I'll try it out.
Interesting.
And then the rest is history. Like
There you
they
go.
say.
Yeah. We're about to do episode 24, I believe, of Crossplay. Tomorrow is when we record this as of recording this podcast now. So that'll be pretty cool. Yeah. I'm excited. It seems like you've taken to it. It seems like you are excited about doing it, and that excites me. And so I'm just like, yeah, let's keep going. Let's do it. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Go.
So yeah, I mean, we're still early on in crossplay. I think we're still figuring some things out. But what has your experience been like so far?
So far, so good. I mean, like I said, I never really got the opportunity to talk to someone about video games and video game news. Like, on a daily basis, I listen to Kind of Funny Games Daily, where they talk about the news. So I would always go in my head, like, have these imaginary conversations about, like, hey, this is what I would say. So now I have the opportunity to, when I see news come out, like, I know I'll be able to talk about it with someone.
Yeah.
And that's really something I've been enjoying doing in a weekly basis.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the reasons why my friend Paul and I first started the Whatnauts. It was just this idea of like, hey, we're kind of having these conversations anyways. Like, we would go eat lunch or something and be like, no, there's no way you could make an Iron Man suit in your bedroom, you dumbass. You're not an electrical engineer. You can't do that. You don't even know any electrical engineer. You know, like we just have stupid conversations like that. And it was fun to just be like, you know what? Why don't we just record these and just have fun? And you know, who cares if we have one listener, 5 or 5,000? Let's just have fun with this and talk. So hopefully I can keep encouraging you to want to do that and just have fun with. Let's just talk about video games. Let's talk about movies and Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. So it's good. It's fun. Any kind of final thoughts or something you want to share? Secret talents that people should know about?
I mean, the only secret talent I can think of is that I love to sing. Like I even sang my school. My school used to have these yearly competitions where you could sign up and just go on stage and sing. So I participated in a few of those.
Did you ever win?
Oh no! Like I know I'm not that good. I don't have that good of a voice, but I never did it for that. I did it because it was something I enjoyed. I enjoyed at least going on stage and singing. Like I've always liked singing. So yeah, I never did it with the intention of winning because I knew everyone else was going to be better than me. I even sometimes would encourage people that I knew were better than me to go and sing on stage. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't never my intention to win. But at least people started recognizing me because of that at school. Like that was that started freshman year, but by senior year, like that was something that people knew me from.
Interesting. That I think is a really good mindset to have. Just like, you know, I'm just gonna go do it and have fun, and I don't care if I'm bad or good or who knows what. Let's just go have fun, and we'll encourage more people to do the same.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Maybe if Andy Cortez ever makes his Thanksgiving banger, you can have a guest spot on his Thanksgiving banger.
Well, I have good news for you because that already came out.
Oh, he did it. Damn it. Oh, well.
You really did it. Yeah.
I lost.
Wait, before
track.
Before we go, I wanted to ask, what's that behind you?
The thing that says like immediately behind me, that's like, where is it? Right there?
No, a bit higher. Bit higher.
Let's see if I can just go.
On the top of the shelf. On the top. No, left. Left side. The other, all the way. I guess it's to the right, maybe. The other side. No, the shelf. All those things you have there on top. All those things on top, right next to the door.
So those are Power Rangers action figures.
Okay, so I thought I recognized that logo.
Yeah, these are like original Power Rangers action figures still in the box.
Nice.
I have a whole set. They were originally $8.96 at Walmart. The boxes aren't in great condition, but the action figures are untouched, and I think I could get like $20 or so for each of these. So there you go. But I do also have the whole set, so there is the like you can get the whole set for
$50.
You know? Yeah, I have all of these guys and my Street Shark action figures.
Yeah, that was my other.
You've heard of Sand Shark, but have you heard of Street Sharks?
I have. Yeah, it's because I could see the outline of the logo, but because of your lights and it being so
it's hard
far,
to see.
yeah, I couldn't tell really.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Ignacio, where can the
Yep.
people find you on the internet?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojas B. That's IGNACIOROJSB. That's my name.
You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. That about wraps us up for this show. A little bit of housekeeping though before we get out of here. If you did not know, I mean, I guess we've mentioned it a million times on this podcast, but we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. So go check them out on our website or your podcasting platform of choice. You guys can find all of our shows just by typing in The Whatnauts, and they will all pop up right there. If you like what we do and you want to support, patreon.com/The Whatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We have some exclusive content at our $3 tier. And we'd also like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, for helping us out. We appreciate it. We love you a lot. Thank you
Shout
so
out.
much for that. Exactly. And you guys can follow us on Twitter at the Whatnauts. Go follow our Twitch because we are at like 38 followers. Can we make it to 40? That's what I want to know. We need to get up to 40 followers and then 50, because once we get 50 and we get maybe a couple consistent viewers, maybe we can reach affiliate. I think that's how that works. Who knows?
I don't know.
But yeah, go do all the things, like, share, subscribe. You know what the deal is. This has been episode 94 of the Captain's Log. We will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments below what you think the worst movie you have ever seen is. We would like to know that down in the comments below. In the meantime, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here in this corner. And also go watch one of our other videos right down here in this bottom corner, because that would help us out a ton. We got plenty more for you to check out. Until next time, bye.